Hello everyone, this is Paul Asadorian, Product Evangelist for Tenable Network Security. This video tutorial will show you about a new feature that we've added as part of the ability to add attachments to scan results, and it's going to showcase how you can create a screenshot of the websites that are running on the targets that you're scanning from your Nessus scanner. Let's look into exactly how that works. So the first thing I would do is come in and create a new policy. I can actually limit it to just the plugins that are responsible for taking this type of screenshot. So the first thing I would do is go into plugins here and disable all, go into my filter options, and I'm going to create a filter that's going to search for all plugins by name which contain the term screenshot. Click Apply Filters. And currently, at the time of this recording, there are 3 plugins, and we're going to cover all of them in subsequent videos as well. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to go into Web Servers, expand out the plugins that match my filter, and you can see Remote Web Server Screenshot. And what this plugin does is visits the websites that are available on your target as if you were visiting them in a web browser. It uses some special technologies to be able to grab a screenshot of that, put it inside of the results so that you can easily thumb through the different websites that Nessus was able to identify and get a visual representation of what kind of websites that your targets are running. So what you need to do is come into your preferences. You're going to look for a preference item called Remote Web Server Screenshot. And what this setting, once you check the box, allows you to do is allows Nessus to connect out to a cloud server on the internet and take screenshots of public targets. So your targets for website screenshots in this particular setup have to be connected to the internet or accessible from the internet. So it can't be RFC 1918 IP address space that you're trying to scan and expect screenshots, unless you're using the update to the Tenable appliance, which will be coming out very soon now, which will contain the functionality within the appliance itself in order to take the screenshots. So if you're not using the Tenable appliance, simply come in here, check this box, scan hosts on the internet. If you do want to scan hosts internally in your network, download the Tenable appliance once the update has been released. I can go over to my Results tab and look through the results that I've collected by scanning the network and taking screenshots. So let's look at some examples from one of my lab networks, and you can see that I've got a remote web server screenshot and that it found 4 hosts that were accessible over the network and running a web service and was able to take a screenshot of. Now the first one happens to be my firewall. And what I like about the website screenshot functionality is that it gives me a visual cue or visual indication of what that device is. Sure, there are Nessus plugins to collect all kinds of information about the host. However, as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So by very easily, just me looking at this picture, I know, oh, it's a firewall, it's running pfSense, it has a management interface that requires a username and a password. That's excellent information that I can process very quickly just by looking at the screenshot. So if we go through the list, there are a couple of other examples. That's another pfSense system as well. There's one more example here that I want to show you. This is XAMPP for Mac OS X, and this is a collection of Apache and MySQL that exists for the OS X platform. Now in its default configuration, it has some security issues. So when I look at this screenshot and I say, well, we found an OS X system and it was running this, it's probably not a web server. It's probably a user testing something out. And since it has the default page, which I can very easily tell by looking at it, they probably haven't done much configuration with it. They're probably not running applications. So this is another great visual indicator of what this host might be doing. I'll show you a couple of more results that I collected earlier. These are some others. So again, I'm going to go into Remote Web Server Screenshot Results plugin 59861. And I'm just going to look through a couple of the other screenshots that I was able to connect. Again, that's another XAMPP for Mac OS X. Here is a page under construction, and this is actually a Windows 2000 target that I'm scanning. And when I look at this under construction page, it looks vaguely familiar to a really old version of IIS. So rather than having to dig through results and say, oh, it's running an old version of IIS, simply by popping through the screenshots, I can say, oh, that one looks a little funny. Maybe we should investigate more, because that under construction page is associated with a really old version of IIS, Microsoft's IIS web server. This is a screenshot of Ultimate Lamp. What I like about this one is I get a lot of detail. As you can see, I can see all of the links that are there. I can see everything that the host that's doing. So I really appreciate the quality, especially on something, a busy website such as this one, which this distribution is meant to be purposely vulnerable. So if I see that, it better be somewhere in my lab and not somewhere on a production network. The last one I want to show you here, you can see that this particular host, 192.168.1.1, was listening on 3 ports. And those 3 ports were running an HTTP server, so Nessus was able to snap a screenshot of each of them. So if the host is running different web services, you will get screenshots of each. This happens to be the Verizon router, for example, or the cable modem router that's providing access services to this network. And you can see it requires a login and a password. So that concludes this video demonstration of the new website screenshot feature. You can visit the links on the resources page that's up on the screen now for more information about Nessus and all of Tenable's enterprise products.